Live. Number 13. I can't believe we're up to 13. So whenever you're ready, Matt. There we go.
This is what consistency looks like.
Yep,
It's horribly ugly, as you can see by all of our faces.
Yep, there we go. Well, they can't see our faces yet. I haven't switched. There we go. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. You all are just jealous because you're not as pretty as me.
Nah, that's true. You do have more hair than me, but that's on purpose.
I just haven't cut mine for about 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's about what it looks like for me too. All right, so Fraser, did you kick all your kids off the internet?
I did. I've had strong internet. I did a firmware update on my router, so I'm all good. I won't have any issues anymore.
Oh, you have slow internet, huh?
Not anymore. I don't know.
I have fiber, so it's like, eh.
I wish I did. I have cable, so I have no problems. Comcast, the evil, awful corporation, as it is.
Comcast in this area is garbage.
Really? Oh man, Comcast is the only way to go where I live right now. Like
Comcast here, like my parents have Comcast, and it goes up and down on them like pretty much every day.
That sucks.
It's awful.
I pull like 8 megabytes per second down, like off of my streaming services like Steam and Battle.net and stuff. So I have a really strong connection. Are we ready to do this?
We are certainly
8,
are.
That's pretty good. 8.
Yeah, not too shabby for cable.
I won't tell you how much I get.
Yeah, I know what you can do.
My kids are upstairs on the computer and Netflix on 2 different devices, and my wife's uploading documents.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. The only reason we have faster internet is because of my wife's work. Otherwise, I'd probably be on dial-up.
Understood.
Yeah,
so I can't do anything about that, and I hope that's okay. But my wife's still working, so.
Understood. All right, let's do this. Hello and welcome once again to another episode of the Scrumcast over at the handcannononline.com, where, at least on the Scrum, we're not just pretty faces. As oh my god, that was terrible. All right, next.
We really aren't pretty faces. That's true. That's like all of us faces for radio right here.
Oh, that's good. I might change my line now. All right.
Notice he doesn't look into the
Hello
camera.
and welcome once again to another episode. Damn it!
Sorry. I didn't think you were about to start talking, or yeah, there we go. There's some more.
I even did like a noticeable nod, like I'm ready to go.
I'll put myself on mute.
Okay. Hello and welcome once again to another episode of the Scrumcast over at handcannononline.com, where I lost it. All right, I'm on a roll tonight, guys.
Hey, you haven't gotten 3 yet. Oh, that was the 3rd one. Oops.
Fraser interrupted me. We do this to Charles on purpose all the time.
Oh, that'd be fun to do to Charles.
It's pretty fun.
On a side note, you guys don't need me tonight, do you?
Oh yeah, goodbye. All right. Okay, now I can alter the line. Hello and welcome once again to another episode of the Scrumcast over at handcannononline.com, where at least on the Scrumcast, we're not just pretty faces. With me, as usual, is the press gamer formerly known as the guy, Mr. Dallas Johnson.
Hello.
I've got our Canadian troll, Fraser Bell, for DeffHeadDice on all things social media.
Evening, folks.
And shockingly, Bakarai's with us again. Mike, welcome back.
Thank you. Well, I'm not that easy to get rid of now.
I guess so. We're rather cultured on this podcast, I think, now, with all of the wonderful diversity we have, except for we're all white.
Canada? What's Mike's Welsh?
He's Welsh, yeah.
We got I'm from
there.
Utah, so that's culturally different than anywhere else in the U.S.
I guess so.
And then you're from like the land of the coffee beans and hippies, so
I don't even drink coffee or smoke weed, so I don't know what the
you're in the wrong place, man.
I guess so. It's just liberal enough for me, I guess, is what's up. So, So we left off last week with a rather short podcast, even though it was actually an hour. We managed to miss the last 4 units in Trolls, which we will go over later in the podcast. In addition to that, we will also go over the solos as a sort of final nod to our evaluation of how we ended out in Mark III, which I think is personally fucking fantastic. But first, I'm going to pass it over to Fraser because we have the battle reporting tool up and running. We've got a lot of data in already, and I'm going to let him drill you on exactly what's going down.
Yep. So battle reporter games keep coming in, which is fantastic. And I fixed the thing that everyone complained when the win-loss ratios didn't equal out. So when you report a game, it now puts in both yours and your opponent's results, which I think still confuses people. But we're up to 700, just over 750 results so far, and so it's just beginning as a halfway decent sample size. At this point, Trolls and Khador are the factions that are reporting the most games. I think we got to beat Khador because I don't want Khador to win because that means Bubba's winning. But right now, Trolls are actually doing. It's still a small sample size, so I mean it's 112 games, so we're going to see this go on. But right now, Trollblood has a healthy 54% win ratio, so 61 wins versus 51 losses out of 112 games. For the same level of games, the closest one is Khador, which is 119 games played, and they're at a 47% win ratio. There's some sort of few outliers. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Legion only has played 60 games and have a 67% win ratio. And we can go into where the strengths and weaknesses. So the overall results are interesting. I've been spamming both the 4 New Gamers page and the Scrumcast page with all this information. I'm still trying to figure out where the home is eventually going to live, but we'll start posting it so you don't have to keep seeing it up in your feeds all the time. Going into the actual Trollbloods versus factions, a couple things I thought of note or of interest. Going back to the Legion, there's been 10 games reported against Legion. We've lost all but one of them. Now I can dive deeper in to see what the casters were and the odds were, but that one really surprised me. Considering previously in Mark II we had a fairly strong, we're fairly strong against Legion, so that's the thing that really steps out. Where everything else is about average. Circle we're doing really well. Out of 9 games we've won 8 of them. Signar, for some reason Signar's really spiked against Trolls. 22 games played with which we have a 59% intro as well. So it's sorry, not intro. I'm reading and talking at the same time, and my brain switched. 59% win ratio. And then a few of the other things of note. I've broken it down by warlocks as well, and just looking at the different casters. And in Mark II, when we did this stuff, Doomy 3 by far was the most played caster. Right now, he's only got 4 games reported. Right now, the 2 primary casters that people are playing are, surprise, surprise, Ragnar, new battle box caster, makes sense. Also, Madrak 2 at 19 games as well. Followed in third, surprisingly, by Borka 1. I was a little surprised about that one.
I thought we'd see a ton more Gunbjorn.
Gunbjorn's not bad. He's at 8 with a 63% win ratio, which
I'm honestly not. I'm not honestly. I expected experimentation, and Borka is one of those warlocks that's, I don't know. This is a new beginning, and people are like, man, I haven't played Borka 1 in forever, and I only played him in Family Reunion. Let's give him a try. I kind of expected this.
Yep. And I mean, Madrak's...
Yeah, same here. Whereas Borka 1 has always had a strongly solid game before, but with like the culling overall of like threat range boosters and spell as well.
Looks like we lost.
Yeah, we're
Fraser.
No.
There.
That was odd. All of a sudden, you guys all dropped like crazy.
No. Sorry, we'll get on something to cut up.
Wow. Who's doing stuff on the internet? You need to stop, please. I just lost all my stuff.
true. I mean, in Elemental Community, or in EE, it was easy to not. There was a lot of crap in the way. She had the stone with her all the time. She could use it for screening. So it was not necessarily hard to keep her alive, but in a normal list, it really is, like, because you want to influence as much of the board as you can, and a lot of times that can get you killed. So just got to be careful. Fraser, way to be back.
I am back. I don't know what happened there. A bit of a hiccup, so sorry about that.
So, spoiler here, Fraser's actually been podcasting from Venezuela this whole time, which is exactly why his internet's like this.
I'll have you know, my internet's been damn fine until like today, because I've been streaming stuff like crazy without any issue. I blame you guys. It's the melding of the minds that's doing this. So, but my signal strength. There we go. So that was
all right. So
that or the internet
go
got
ahead and
so
pick up where you.
I was saying that either that or the internet got so bored of what I was talking about, it decided to just throw itself into a coma. So, short summary is the stuff is looking good. Like, the numbers are coming in. I think we're going to get some really interesting data as things continue, but and keep putting those games in. And I think, and we'll start diving in a little bit deeper on level people playing, what region they're playing, because I think it'll be interesting to see where the different stats are coming from, and sort of dive down a little bit deeper, and then start looking at lists and see what people are bringing. So all this stuff is collected, and we'll just start compiling it and posting it on a semi-regular basis for people to look at. And again, I know I've told people I'm sharing the data. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do it, because the spreadsheet that is in Google is very messy, and I'm worried that it'll make people's heads explode if they try to figure out what my logic is. So.
Speaking of which, did you get anybody to help you with the uncategorized data that you talked about last?
Not yet. No one's reached out, but I've got a couple of coworkers. Although I do have one of the local guys has been kind enough to offer to potentially make an Android app for us that'll capture it and then be able to.
Cool.
And the other thing, I was going to reach out to the gentleman that does Iron Grudge, because Iron Grudge is an Android app, and there's a way people could export their stuff into a little portal where they can just dump their their file, like an XML or something like that, into it. That'd be interesting as well. So looking at a couple options, because I don't want this to be my data. I don't want this to be something I can sort of set up and then enjoy watching it come in and not necessarily have to own all the different pieces of it. I want it to be a community-based thing, and everyone can take what they want from it. Ideally.
I can dig. You know what really warms my heart, though, is that 80% win rate against cricks so far.
Oh, yes, that's pretty sweet.
That's really, really happy news for me. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Along with the 90% win rate against Circle.
Exactly.
Everyone's complaining about how independently good Circle's war beasts are, but we don't seem to have much of a problem with them at all.
Nope.
No, one of my first two games was against Circle, and it was not a difficult game for me, I felt, and I think it'll take a little bit of time. Like, Circle sort of has to find its own identity again, where it was pretty clear, obviously, throughout Mark II, and now everybody's sort of searching. But Trolls feel like nothing really changed. You're coming at the game, very similarly to the way that we did before. So, it's basically just like riding a bike, Yep.
I like that with Trolls, and I've been upset about the whole range self animus thing pretty much since the start. But I like that I don't have to worry as much about the layers anymore. There's still a lot of layers, but it's not nearly as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
What's that?
Yeah, as I was just saying, I'm getting every time I used to think about troll buffs, I keep on getting a mental picture of Shrek talking about ogres and layers, and pretty much what it was like. Sometimes you had 6 or 7 different layers of buffs, and order of operations for a new player for trolls could be pretty daunting before. So the reduction somewhat in the amount and layers of buffs is somewhat welcome in that regard. Overall, it feels a little bit of a power level drop for trolls overall, but still a decent place to be.
Well, I think that we can probably push into the next section here where we talk some more about all of the freaking fantastic shit that we love. Now, I do remember us glossing over RuneShapers just a little bit. Now, I personally did not get a chance to play them as much as perhaps Dallas or even Fraser did over the course of Mark II. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Fraser and give us a synopsis of how he thinks they fared coming into Mark III.
To be honest, I haven't looked at them much in Mark III. I mean, I know that the Trembler attack is a little bit different now because you can't charge and do it. You're basically, it's an action. You can't do your charge and then do your Trembler. You have to basically go in and pick one or the other, which makes it a little bit less powerful. The nice thing I do like about it, and we'll talk about it when Janessa makes them battle wizards, I believe, or battle wizards?
Battle wizards.
Yeah, so they can have a few extra things they can do when they get in there. Actually, we had a game on the 4 New Gamers, the home machine last night, where the guy brought in some of them and he was able to get some work with them. Trembler's still good; it can knocking things down. The Rock Hammer is still a good AOE POW 14 magic attack, so you're still getting that. They were always magic ability 7, right? They weren't magic 6 before.
Yep.
Okay, so
they were 7.
Yep. So and dig in, and I don't believe they had dig in before. So at least that gives them at least lets them get up the table a little bit faster than they were before, or a better chance of getting up the table, especially with all the shooting in there right now. So I think they'll have their place. I think right now I'm focusing more on the Golden Boys, the Fenblades, than I am with the RuneShapers.
So I don't have Fenblades yet, so I don't have that problem. But I have 2 units of RuneShapers, and dig in I've found is actually lots more handy for getting them up the field, if you feel like you can get away with not running. But I think they're great. I think now they don't really rely on anyone else to be good. Janissa helps them if you're going to bring Janissa. I don't think you're going to though. But by themselves, they can just run a flank now pretty easily.
Yeah, their accuracy in melee is reasonable at Mat 6, so they're not terrible at hitting things that they would want to hit and then kill as a battle wizard. What would be great is if on a flank you can get them in there on a low defense troop and then knock down a high defense heavy automatically with that big AoE. Yep. I do believe it's slightly shorter than the original 2 inches that it was before based on the 4-inch AoE template, right?
It is, but it's also bigger than when it was nerfed, because before it was within a... Was it 4 inch? What was it when because I thought they changed Tumblr.
From the base, yeah. And then it was a 3-inch AoE centered on them. Now it's a 4-inch AoE centered on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a little bit better that way.
So it's slightly less than it was before, better than it was during the errata, but the auto hit still stayed, which is actually part of the reason they're really, really good. So it forces your opponent to really position properly. Otherwise, yeah,
they've got to deal with them, or they're going to make them pay.
Agreed.
Yeah, and they're only 9 points, so they're cheaper than almost all of our war beasts. So,
what are Fire Eaters? 9 points?
7, I think.
Fire Eaters is 7 points.
Yeah.
I said war beasts, not units.
Oh Lord, why take? Oh man, I like this unit. I think they're good. I think they're a little overcosted because Fire Eaters are just better for 7 points.
Well, you take RuneShapers if you need the knockdown because you're playing high defense, like I don't know, Circle.
Fire Eaters have boosted.
Yeah, but if you're playing against high defense, boosted sprays pretty much takes care of all of that.
A boosted attack can still miss, and a Trembler doesn't miss. It auto knocks down.
A Trembler also has a less than a 1-inch range. You can only walk 5 inches into it.
I'm just saying. Just depends on what you're seeing, I guess.
I don't know. I'll take a 15-inch assault threat.
I say all that, and I'm arguing with you both, but I play Fire Eaters in almost every list I play. So.
Well, now that there's no such thing as tier lists for the time being, then you'd better be playing Fire Eaters.
Fire Eaters. We'll talk about my board. Since we talked about Borka 1, later we'll talk about the Borka 1 list I've been playing around with. See if you guys can't help me make it better.
Does it have Fire Eaters?
Yeah, of course they do.
A Northkin. Why? Why wouldn't he? Right?
It's not a Northkin themed list, but we'll get there.
All right, let's go on to the much maligned Scouts. Now, this is a unit that was used pretty seldomly in Mark II. I didn't think they were actually bad in Mark II. I don't think they're bad right now. I'm just wondering if they're better than the other options for their points for what they do. They still have Gang. They have Hunter. They have Prowl now, which is really good. And they still have the normal thrown axe at POW 11. So they're good. In addition to that, I mean, they have AD and Assault and Pathfinder. So they're good. They're relatively self-sufficient. They're inexpensive for 5 dudes.
Yep,
5.
10,
Five.
yeah, 10
Five
points
bullets.
for 5 dudes.
Yep.
6 dudes, leader and 5.
I meant 6 dudes.
6 dudes for 10 points. So they're really inexpensive for what they do. But I'm not certain what they do actually makes them worth bringing, even over a min unit of others.
Yeah, the one real change for them is the change to Prowl. Before, they needed to get concealment from an AoE, terrain, or a spell to gain stealth.
Now we
it's
can
just
Chronicler.
Yeah, now the Chronicler can buff them and they can run off ahead of him, and they have stealth pretty much by proxy, which gives us our only real stealth unit. So,
And they didn't get that 1-inch reach buff that almost all the other
No.
troll units did as well. So
No,
Yeah,
but they have Assault. So.
Yeah, with the Assault, I don't think there's a problem. They're naturally
Pathfinder,
speed 6
Advanced
too.
Deployment, Assault. Was their Mat and Rat always 6 and 5?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Assault still has the same problems that it always did, where if you missed the guy that you were attacking, you had only a slightly better than 50-50 chance of missing your own guy, and sadly they kill each other pretty well with their thrown axes.
Depending on the order of activations, if you do it right, you can waterfall it so that they all have backstrike bonus. So-
On each other, which is not a good thing.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, so reverse waterfall it then. So that they don't. Sorry, brain went in the wrong direction there.
I liked that the camera went to your face while you were thinking. It's like you could almost hear the hamster wheel creaking. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that appearing on numerous TrollbloodScrum cuts now. Just one shot.
I'm gonna be the focus of so many memes. It's gonna be terrible.
I'll just do the video in
I'm
slow
so glad you
motion.
just said that. We should take this time now to announce our new contest. Send me your best Matt Ramsey, Goris, Trollbloods meme, and I will personally send the winner a boxed unit of Crow Warriors. You heard it here first.
Oh my! All right, so I think these guys are pretty good. So let's talk about this for a second, though. Terrible. It's not great either, but they're 10 points. They're cheap as dirt. You'll probably see them. Honestly, I might just use them for like a way to run them into my opponent for cheap.
Yeah.
Get an assault if you can. Like that's not bad. Right?
Their other big advantage is they work as a pretty great screen for the Glacier King to sit in front of him, because his concealment will give them stealth, which protects them from being shot, and that also then makes them harder for opponents to get into the Glacier King to try to melee it to death.
That's interesting to think about, actually. And then that also means that you open up the melee threat there to make sure that you can get them assaulting and charging on the way, and that's not too bad. Yeah. I do see some problems with trying to make sure you navigate the unit around all of your other stuff and the Glacier King properly, but that's probably not that hard to manage. So, that being said, Fraser's shushing a child off the side of the screen here. So
Darn the video.
hello, internet.
I love how this camera switches. I think we're not saying anything, and the camera comes to you.
Fantastic. Which one's that, Fraser?
This is Emma. This is the youngest.
Hi.
Hello, Internet. Say hello to the Internet.
Hi, Internet.
Yes.
Say hello to all 3 of the people that listen to this podcast.
There's 3 people watching it right now.
Other people will watch this. That being said, we're hugely popular, of course, pushing our ego there. All right, so let's go ahead and move on, because we've already probably taken too much time on the units at this point, and go to the next one on the list, which, if my tablet cooperates with me, is
the Sluggers.
The Sluggers. Okay.
Yay!
I think these guys are legit good now. They're inexpensive for what they do. They have a great gun at range 10, D3, POW 13, and they still have melee weapons. But always getting D3 shots, regardless if they move, is so good.
Well, the
It's
reason
so
why it's
good.
good is because they're PAL 13s. PAL 13s is
No
strong.
shit. Okay, so Grim 2 loves these guys. Did you put
Yes.
them on the table with Grim 2?
No.
Oh, Dallas. Do you
I
not
don't have any sluggers. How am I supposed to play something I don't have?
Person trolled the shit out of you and gave you Sluggers.
Don't go look at the list that I posted, because it wasn't a very strong list, but it was a lot of fun.
You do what you can with what you have. I personally have a unit of Sluggers that I am just dying to put on the table now, because I think that with Grim 2, these things are going to be legit. Like, this basically brings back my old Masters list from, like, 2 years ago, where I had Sluggers in it, and I turn 2 nearly shot Terminus off the table and then lost.
I actually like the mid unit a lot more when I'm building lists. I find that I'm using them for support, and I can fit 3 of them in a lot easier than I can 5. Which I don't know. I don't know if that's good or not, but I like it.
Well,
for 8 points, 3 guns with that kind of power is actually pretty goddamn good. Now that I think about it,
I like them at 3 most of the time.
But no, as sluggers as they are now are good, and I can certainly see them even more so than before in Mark II having a home of Gunbjorn with snipe.
Oh yeah.
You know, so speed 5, range 14 guns. You know, they can get around a shooting and still be safe from most retaliation. And Explosivo on one of them still gives you like D3 shots that explode and kill other guys, potentially. It's better on War Beasts because you can like boost the attack rolls and stuff to make sure you're getting the hits you want, but that's handy. Also, again, like the Trollkin Sorcerer is great in the unit because of the fact that he can give them magical guns. So great for trying to. So even though like against armor 19 men off heavies, for example, it's dice off 1. When you got 5 of them plowing in D3 shots each, hitting on 5s, then you're gonna start chipping away on those jacks from range.
It's not too shabby, especially when you can park them on a flank and keep them pretty much well out of harm's way.
Yeah.
I mean, at least until the Ranger, the Arcane Tempest riflemen come out.
and right now threat range is king. Knowing what everybody's threat ranges are, being able to pre-measure guns are very, very powerful, and having guns that you know can just accurately stand still, shoot, and be out of threat range of a lot of stuff makes them immensely valuable. It's 3 targets a turn that you get to remove, or it's a whole lot of damage on a heavy target that you can just reliably put downfield. Outside of certain things, anything defense 15 or above starts to get a little nuts when you even if you stand still. So, it's excellent across the board. Excellent. I think you're going to start seeing these guys all over the place, and from what I've seen nationally, a lot of the big lists, you're seeing guns everywhere, and accurate guns with great range and good power win games right now. And you'll see that they're going to start to rise to the top until the rest of us sort of get in line with the good players and realize that there's other ways to deal with long threat ranges. And that's to build lists towards specific scenarios with the right pieces, i.e. things like Fire Eaters and Fen Blades and a number of other things that sort of discount a lot of the long-range shooting. But I super like these guys, and I think that they're going to see some serious play in Mark III. Fraser, you got any thoughts on these guys?
My big thing was their Rat 5, which I mean, if I play against a lot of high defense, but I mean, if they're aiming, that'll at least bring it up a little bit. So I mean, that's my biggest concern about them. But I don't know if we have much way to boost their Rat other than just by aiming. But
Grim 2 is one of the only ways.
Grim 2's got a good unit buff that works on him. There's a few other ways to debuff an enemy unit, but for the most part, they're gonna stand and aim anyways.
Yeah, true.
So
they are somewhat reminiscent of my old orc army I used to play. So there is something that pulled me that way to think about them more than I would normally.
Just orcs with a whole bunch of shooters, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't hear that out of my mouth. I don't actually know what that game is about. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to Jesus tablet. Come on,
Warders.
There we go. To the last one, the Warders. Holy crap, they're good again.
Yep, absolutely.
Warders are good again. So each one in the unit gained Shield Guard, which is awesome. And they gained a new rule called Wall of Steel, which sort of offsets what Battle Driven used to do. So it gives them +2 armor while they're in base to base with one another. And now they have Brutal Charge on the Axe, so that brings them to POW 11, POW 13 when they charge, so they're a hair under POW 10 Weapon Master, which is basically, I mean, close to what they were anyway. But gives them decent melee punch with a huge tar pit ability type of unit. They retained 5 wounds at least, rather than 8, which is a little diminished, but they're inexpensive. At 17 points for a full unit of 5 dudes, that's 40. 5 times 5 is 25 wounds. Sorry, guys. I can do math on stream. That's 25 wounds for that many points, which is, I mean, way more than you're going to get out of a 10-man unit of Fen Blades with a UA. So when you pile Tough on top of that, they're fantastic. They're great with Mad Drak. They're great with a number of other options. Mike, what do you think?
Well, Warders are, the new Warders are excellent. Whereas besides the obvious benefits of putting them with Mad Drak 2, which basically helps push his survival to ridiculous levels. They said compared to their pre-Weapon Master versions, the pre-nerf versions, they're weaker than the pre-nerf Warders. But after that, I think they're probably in the right place now for where they really envisioned the unit to be. So I think that makes a massive difference for them. Going up to speed 5 as well was a big difference for them. So they're actually as fast now as champions and the like. So you no longer have that one unit that's struggling to get up the board.
Which I like. And I don't think threat range is really a problem with them before, honestly, because they were there to get in the way, take damage, that sort of thing. And now they are actually more of a functional unit. They kind of feel like champions were supposed to be before, and now champions are something completely new that we've discussed. Dallas, what do you think?
I think there's almost no reason to try and fit at least a min unit in with, especially our more squishy casters, like those of you who keep losing with Calandra. Bring ye some Warders. It'll help, I promise. Let me be honest. I lose with Calandra a lot. I get her killed all the time. So, but I mean, just the defensive potential, and then they can get it done for you late game if you're going to use them as a bodyguard unit. You could use them as a spearhead if you wanted to run them out front with a stone. They're pretty strong by themselves, so I like it.
Let's talk about what they're like with Jarl. Like, Jarl cranks those motherfuckers up to 11. Like, they're super fast. They're super accurate at that point because they've got Quicken on them. And so you've got these Speed 7, Mat 7, POW 11, or POW 13 charges that are coming out, and they're hard to kill on the way in.
Well, Jarl helps deliver them really well, too. His feat works a lot better than it used to. And again, with Quicken, or even if you need Willed Secrets on him, he helps them just get up the board like you're not going to expect, I think. I like them.
Oh God! Like just imagine with Quicken, so they run that extra 2 inches, so they're 12 inches up the board first turn, and then they're 14 inches beyond that, and then their armor 21 behind them with the stone and the ult.
Well, with Quicken they're running 14 inches,
Is
right?
it +2 or is it 2 speed?
It's 2 speed.
Plus 2 speed.
Holy shit! 14-inch run on a 4. Jesus Christ! Like if you're going first, you're beyond scenario zones of your opponent.
Yeah, it's
and
a
trying
good
to get
scenario,
that
Jim.
crap out of the way, especially with Jarl feet. Holy moly! Like that's ridiculous. Couple that with like long riders and fed blades,
So-
and Jarl's just like you don't get to have a scenario game anymore.
Do they have it where living models with like eyeless sight still ignore the -2 to their attack rolls like they did in Mark II?
No, they specifically changed that now, so it's just living models within the cloud suffer
Yeah, that's what I
penalties.
thought. That makes me super happy because when that errata came out, I wanted to like throw something sharp at the infernal that did that. If you're listening, I love you. That was rude. That was probably not because, as we mentioned earlier, there's only 3 people listening. But
5 now.
oh, hey,
Whoa, we're so
hey.
popular.
You told your kids to log on, didn't you?
Shh.
That's right.
Like my kids listen to what I say.
Good point. Good point.
Fair enough, fair enough. So, I think these guys are awesome. I think you're going to see them all over the place, and I've already pulled them off of the shelf that I have. So, I'm looking forward to getting started using RuneShapers, Warders, and they're actually on the docket for painting here pretty soon. So, hopefully we'll get a chance to play a little more often coming up here. All right, so we've rounded out the units. There are a number of solos, and we're getting a little short on time at this point, so I think we should probably just pick up the all-stars, because some of the other ones are not so great. I'm going to go ahead and single out a few that are still really awesome, and we'll go from there. And if you guys have questions, you can talk to us via Facebook or Twitter, and each one of us can respond in kind to your questions about our sort of more maligned solos in the list here. I'm going to go ahead and leave most of that to Dallas and Fraser, but I will make a concerted effort to actually respond to social media. All right, so going from the top, we're going to skip over Braylon. We're going to go to the Fellcaller Hero. Fellcaller Hero for just like 2 seconds because he's effectively the same across the board, and you're going to see him all over the place again. He's still a Weapon Master. He's still awesome. He gained 1 inch reach. He's still Mat 7. He's got the Fellcaller.
No, he's not.
No, Matt
What?
6.
No, he lost a mat.
He lost a mat, you buggers.
I'll take it. I'll take it for 1 inch reach.
Yeah, thanks for keeping that PG there, Matt.
Oh, I think he just hurt himself stopping that one.
All right, so still good.
Still
has an accurate spray at Rat 6, which is actually what you're going to use him most of the time for because sprays are excellent all the time.
Yeah, there's no more buffing him really, other than with the stones. So
What I would have liked to see is that if he went to the type of buff where if he buffed a unit, he got the same buff, which would be really, really cool. But I guess for his points, he can't really argue. I mean, for 5 points, he does so much. He's still 8 wounds.
he's actually extra good now with Gristle 1.
Yeah. With the way the feat works now, it's pretty awesome. Oh God, +2 mat
Oh yeah.
and +2 attacks a turn for models. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
As well is his Pathfinder foul call now works on war beasts, so you don't have to take an accent out just to get Pathfinder on your beasts.
Nice.
And I'm also seeing him show up and multiple times in the list because he's FA2. I'm seeing a lot of people taking 2 of them as well.
Well, there was FA2 before.
Yep.
Some of us brought 2 of them before because you would Warcry 1 and send him in. So you'd put Rage and the Krill Stone and give him +4 strength, and then send him in with +2 mat. So he's a mat 9 Weapon Master, Power Strength 14 attacks. Yeah, that change to rage was brutal.
Yeah, our troops used to be super combat effective because of that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Finblade Kit Car, who has a special place in my heart for a few reasons. Not only because I gave Dallas one, but because the model's gorgeous and I use Finblades all the goddamn time. And he's going to see table time all over the place. So, hard, like usual. He has Righteous Vengeance, so when a model is destroyed or removed from play while 5 inches of him, he gets to make a 3-inch advance and make a basic attack during the maintenance phase, which is awesome. It'll be used sometime. You probably want to keep him a little more far away from the unit just because you're using him for that +2 that I'm about to talk about.
You want him for the leader ability.
Yep. Yeah. Veteran leader gives the Fenblades +1 mat while within his command, which is 9, I believe.
7.
7. Yeah, so he has to be up there.
7. You take most of the command that we used to have, and you minus 2 or 3. That's where we're sitting at for the most part anymore.
Yeah. What's really awesome, though, is that he's a PAL 13 with 2 attacks, and his charge attack gets +2. He's mat 9 on the charge, which is awesome with reach. So he's a very potent solo for 4 points, people. Only 4 points.
Yeah. What's interesting is if you have 2 of them, because he is also a Fenblade model, they can then give veteran leader to each other, pushing each other up to mat 8.
That is ridiculous. I love it. I'm gonna buy another one because of that.
Well, it's weird. It's like they purposefully went, all right, Cuddle Warriors, you're not going to do any damage at all anymore. But that's okay because the Fenblades will.
They'll do all the damage. They'll get all of the attacks, and they'll be so much more accurate.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You can make your Fenblades mat 9. Freaking ridiculous.
Yep. Mat 9 power 12 weapon masters with cleave. That's what Matt is looking at, and he's not looking away from that.
Yeah. Hide your kids, hide your wife. That's what it sounds like. Like that's.
I'm
terrible.
just waiting for the wave 2 and 3 of the Madrak 2 errata while they try and figure out how to balance him.
They needed to not give him that feat. Is really what they needed to not do.
They needed to leave the feet. They needed to leave the feats alone.
Yeah, they really did. Like he was fine before, totally fine. I think really what happened is I surfed too many casters with Madrak 1, and they're like, nope.
Well, Madrak 2 only does it a way better.
With Weapon Master.
Yeah, holy crap. Yeah, at the very least, Mat 10, POW 17 Weapon Master. Like, that's the bare minimum of what you have to be able to survive. Oh, also Unlimited Fury. Terrible. Alright, Alice, I'm going to go ahead and let you pick a solo out of here that you really, really like.
Any solo I want?
Any solo you want to talk about.
I'm going to pick No, I'm not.
I knew you were not.
Do I pick the elephant in the room? Let's see here.
I already picked my favorite. Go ahead.
Well, you picked my favorite too, Jerkface. And I can't talk about Braylon, and I actually like Braylon a lot. Let's talk about the hero, because he's actually pretty dang freaking good. He's a little pricey at 5 points.
Champion hero.
Yeah, the Trojan champion hero, not the failed color hero. So the champion hero, he's pretty much the same as he was before, except for he does something fabulous with champions, is he gives all the champions retaliatory strike.
Yeah, baby.
Which is if this model's hit by a melee attack, so they kind of changed that a little bit, by an enemy model during their turn after that attack's resolved, this attack makes a basic melee attack against that model. And then you can only do that once per turn. But the good thing about that is he's a Mat 8 Power Strength 12 Weapon Master with retaliatory strike. So then he hands that out to all your champions that are almost as good. It's pretty freaking rad. Plus he has relentless charge.
So even if he toughs, he still gets to make the retaliatory strike.
Yeah, and he has Thresher, so you can run him in, and so he's still pretty strong. 8 wounds, which is a rarity anymore.
The only shtick he lost was his survivability. He doesn't have unyielding anymore, so he's a little harder to kill.
Steady. He's steady now, so he wasn't steady before.
Nope.
Yeah, so yeah, he's glorious. I like him. I like him a lot. And I actually happen to have one of these, so I've played him once out of my 2 games that I've played so far.
One thing to note, though, is he did lose 2-inch reach for some reason or another.
Yeah, with Thresher. Matt 8 power strength 12 Thresher.
It was
Well, in all fairness, look at that axe.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not. Oh man, I don't know why.
It's because he hits like a freaking truck. That's why.
Yeah, that's a true statement. I'm kind of surprised, Dallas, that you didn't talk about the Skinner. Just saying.
I actually. So I was putting together a box of bits because I actually have a small box of stuff that Dan wants, and of all of those bits, I actually had enough parts to put together 2 relatively complete Skinners. So I actually have 2 Skinners. One of them's pretty mangled, so I'm trying to decide. I might zombie him when I paint him, but I don't know. I think the Skinners are not good.
I think that's a fair statement. All right, Mike, what solo do you want to talk about?
Well, there's really only one that really stands out for me, and that's Hawthorne. He's pretty much just as amazing as he always was, and I'm amazed that he didn't suffer a nerf in some fashion with just how much he gave the Long Riders. But everything he does is just as great as it was before. And the other interesting thing as well, which I was talking about in the pre-show with Fraser, is I've had clarity as well on the rules forum about how when you use the Bull Rush order, the extra basic attack you can do with the mount, so you can just get 2 power 14s. In the case of Hawthorne, that doesn't really work out because his melee attack is power 15, but in the case of the Long Riders, it's a power buff for them.
Which is pretty fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So explain the way that specifically works so that people know.
Okay, so with Bull Rush now, as it says in the card, every model in the unit must run, charge, or slam. If they slam, then if you move at least 3 inches, the model's also moved. If not, they just suffer a power 14. You just make a power 14 damage roll against them. And then after that, the model can make 1 basic melee attack. Under the rules for cavalry, a mount's melee weapon is a melee weapon like any other, and so it can be used for any basic melee attack. So you have a choice with the Long Riders for the basic melee attack. You can attack at power 12 with a 1-inch reach, or power 14 with a 1/2-inch reach.
So you basically get 3 attacks if you choose to Bull Rush with the Long Riders and are within 10.5 inches. Is effectively over here.
No, it's still only 2 attacks because the slam is still a power attack. It takes up both of your initials. So you don't get your initial attacks. You get 1 slam attack at power 14, and then you can choose either the power 12 or the power 14 with your free basic melee attack.
That's still really good though. Like yeah, that is a definite upgrade there.
Yeah, it gives them a melee power consistency above what any other cavalry unit has.
Yeah, and let's we'll talk a little bit too about how like he lost a range, so he's only 1 inch now, which I disagree with personally. But that's neither here nor there. Still, he's repositioned 3, but he lost critical stagger for critical smite, which I think is a slight nerf. Critical stagger was really good before. Being able to just take away a Colossal's initial attacks with critical stagger was awesome before.
Yeah, they hurt us.
However, one thing about critical smite is cavalry's charge attacks now are boosted.
I totally forgot about that fact. That's awesome. Yep. Ortho's gonna be slamming some shit all over the place. So he could slam, and then he could hit and slam again with the fucking mace. 2 slams. Your opponent's just like, I just lost like 2 units to this shit. How much does this guy cost?
Yeah, so Hawthorne is great. Whereas under solos, are we also technically counting the War Wagon because he doesn't really have a spot anywhere else?
Yeah, let's do that. Because the War Wagon, there's a lot to gush about the War Wagon.
Wait, I could have picked the War Wagon? Oh, God, you,
Sorry, Dallas.
you and your technicalities. I tell you what.
Before we talk about the War Wagon, because we're getting close, I'm gonna let Fraser pick a solo, and then we'll all gush about the War Wagon.
So I've looked. You guys talked about all the ones I want to talk to. I have to pick Dallas's brain because he's talking about how good Braylon is, and I'm just not seeing it. So I'm going to pass over my turn to Dallas and have him tell me why Braylon is good because I'm just not seeing it.
Okay, here's why Braylon's good. She shoots stuff twice in the back with the backstab and kills them. No, so with Prowl she can deliver herself. Backstab is awesome for the additional die on the attack and damage, so she's going to hit. She has Prowl, so like again, if you can get her up there, shouldn't be hard, especially if you run her on flank, maybe with your rune bear or rune shapers. And then with luck, if you accidentally flub the roll, you get to re-roll it anyways. So she's going to hit. She's relatively cheap. She's about as much as most of our other solos. And at POW 12, when you get to boost the attack and damage, POW 12 Rat 6, she can do some serious damage to some of your harder to kill solos or put a big dent in a light Warjack Warbeast. She hits hard with the auto boost on the backstab. That's cool.
Seems fair.
Okay, so
Seems fair.
Well, just players. Back is raising his head, going, "Shut up, Dallas." No, try her, Fraser. I would say just try her.
Okay.
See if you can deliver, and if you can pull off the backstab, you won't be disappointed.
Okay. I haven't had much luck getting stuff into the back arc, but we'll see if I have a little more luck with that. So
It's way easier to do now because you can just bloop. I mean, she has gunfighter, so you can be
And
immediately.
there's more terrain on the table, and
She's
there's a
got
lot easier
Pathfinder.
ways to
She's a
deliver.
gunfighter. It doesn't matter if you're in the melee or not.
Yep.
So.
Indeed.
Give her the
All right.
give her the ye old college try. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Agreed.
Excellent.
All right, so the War Wagon. I think we kind of all agree that this model's a little bonkers right now. Like, with range 12, power 16, AoE 5, that's already a stat line that's like, what? Who gets this? Why would they do that? It's ridiculous. So, speed 7, mat 6, rad 5, pretty much the same across the board. Kept line breaker, got the new better rule dual attack, which is excellent. It has reposition 3, which is hilarious because you're almost never going to use it.
You're not
unless
gonna have room to reposition, huh?
Well, not only that, but okay, so even with Gunbjorn, who I tested the model with twice, I found Snipe was more useful on other models, and I found that the War Wagon traded up when charging more than it did when shooting, because I was basically using it to draw my opponent's attention, do a crap ton of damage right away, shoot with the guns, and then be a hard target to remove. Because now that you've got that giant base up there, you can position very aggressively. You can move Gunny up with the wall, and you've got the stone, which he's already thrown all the fury on that you need, because you can put a rune barrier in there and that kind of thing. So the War Wagon's armor 21 when the opponent tries to go into it, and then you get to pull to bear all of the other tools of your army on your opponent that can keep the War Wagon safe. I mean, for instance, in both games, like I got a little lucky. And I crit dev the heavies that would have killed my War Wagon away from my War Wagon. And so I got to live the dream where the War Wagon goes in, kills a bunch of crap for 2 turns. 2 turns in a row,
That's awesome.
which is super fun. And then on top of that, it's hard to remove. It's just awesome. I mean, between Linebreaker, Breaker, Quake, I mean, it hasn't really changed outside of getting the reposition and then getting the momentum on the mount. And then also the +2 inches range on the gun. I love it. Please go play it.
I think you'll use reposition because you'll kill everything in front of it and then reposition up into something else so that you can engage it.
Yeah. Or you can use it for like hit and run plays now. So you can trample up 10 inches, fire 12 inches away, and then from just some the faster factions out there, you can still just pull back 3 inches again afterwards, which is a lot better than ride by attack.
But you can even just shuffle one way or the other to get out of the way if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving that big ass base out of charge lanes is pretty important when it's going to be one of the faster pieces on the board.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have noticed, and it does make me a little bit sad that it did lose a point of mat, so it's now mat 6 rather than mat 7. Defense 9 versus defense 10, which it used to have, is pretty much
The
nothing.
War Wagon wasn't Mat 7.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
What?
It doesn't matter now because they're boosted attack rolls on the charge.
Oh, that's true.
And
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
boosted impact attacks as well, just for good measure.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're charging, you're gonna get boosted attacks across the board.
All right, I take it all back. Oh,
Still
sorry.
Fraser, did you ever have a chance to use the War Wagon back in Mark II?
No, but he's about he's primed, and I've got some paint on him, so that's at least I'm partly there. No, but yeah, he definitely sounds like he's going to be a blast.
You were going to enjoy this model to no end, and do not be afraid of losing this model. The
Just go
best
get
way
it
to
in
play, best way to play the War Wagon is to play it aggressively.
Okay.
Like, yeah, exactly. So just reckless abandon. That's what we're pitching here.
That's good. And
That was awesome. I was like, okay.
Well, the thing is, I've actually played against him, or against the War Wagon once. I played Rich from Beer Machine at the Southern Ontario Open, and he just ran that thing forward like crazy. So he has already fallen the same approach, which is good. So no, I took him out with like 3 slags.
It's built to run that way.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Wow.
going to get an attack off with it. It's going to hurt things.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
Plus, your opponent's going to be worried about that. It's like, the 5-inch AoE knockdown? The shit?
Yeah.
God, I gotta not park anything close to my Warcaster. It's terrible.
Yeah. One of my favorite tricks with the War Wagon always used to be casters who would take like the bunker objective, or not the bunker, the effigy of valor, so they could gain cover from behind it. So you just shoot the objective.
Knock our asses down. Yep.
Mike, it's because you're
Pretty
rude.
It's a good tactic. No one ever took that against
Hey,
me.
that's a troll tactic. If you can't hit them with by shooting their crap, shoot your crap. That's just how that works.
Yep, that's worked for me a number of times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things because back in Mark II, I used to champion Gunbjorn a lot with like Dozer and Double War Wagon, and that's still going to see a lot of play.
I think so too.
I want another War Wagon for that specific purpose. I think that the War Wagon is good enough to, even if you're talking about occupying nearly 40 points in your list, it is so combat effective that you can do that.
Yeah.
Really ridiculous.
I think it gained an extra 2 damage boxes. I think it had 22 in Mark.
Yes,
It
it
did
did.
gain a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at 24 now.
Yeah.
Which is actually a pretty noticeable change when you take into account that powers across the board dropped by about 1 on average.
Yeah, and considering that the vast majority of the time it's going to be sitting on armor 21, so
Yeah, so the big compensation between War Machine and Hordes, one of the things you'll notice is a lot of the armor values in War Machine is still kind of the same, and with Hordes they make up with health boxes on their beasts, and so but everything doesn't hit as hard. So I think it balances out, but I think it makes us more survivable and it makes it easier to kill their crap. And the War Wagon fits into that group with the beasts. So
Yeah, we as a faction benefited a lot from the way that they normalized everything. So
I think so too.
I don't know. I'm really at a very positive spot with the way that our faction sits currently, and I hope that we'll see that played out in the meta. Also, I just noticed that there's a really horrendously cute cavalry icon on the War Wagon that I didn't notice before.
There is indeed.
That tells you that it's a cavalry model, which is pretty hilarious and awesome now. All right, so I think we have talked too much, and I just referred to an icon on the War Wagon as cute. So, on that bombshell, this has been the Scrumcast, signing off.
Awesome.
but yeah, Gunny Double War Wagon is definitely going to make a return.